Okay, if you're watching this and you know a little bit about the costume I built around one of my favorite characters, Deathstroke. The costume, as you can see, suffered from a little bit of a paint job issue, mostly resulting in a lack of distinction. My face just disappears, look at that. So it was time to tear down everything I had built, so to speak, and do another paint job. In my previous version of this project, I managed to miss the grenades that go along with the costume. So I took an old smoke grenade and made sure to do some low lights, and then of course introduce some metallic paint. There it is alongside a real grenade, just a small comparison. And then I clear coated it several coats deep. And speak of the devil, here's where we started. I'm going to go ahead and use a new material. This is Plastidip. It's the kind of stuff you dip tools in to give them rubber handles. Everything had to go. I was not going to leave any trace of the old paint job. It took time to build up all the layers over so many parts. Okay, now we're coming up on an issue I had in the last version of this costume. My leg armor, each piece was too long. I ended up having to cut about 2 inches out of it. I simply ran a tape around it, edged a piece out, and then glued the 2 remaining halves back together. I also came across a problem where I had to remove the old faux shotgun shells that I had on my shoulder. Thankfully, the glue is sensitive to heat. Before I knew it, just about all the pieces had a good layer of plastic coat over them. Now it was time to lay down coat after coat of the spray paint. This was pretty exciting for me. I'd never done it in such a way to make such a clear and shiny coat on it. Look at that. Time to talk about an issue I had. The chest piece, the torso, spent a little bit too much time outside and managed to stay in the sun. The sensitive glue came apart, the chest piece nearly fell apart. Had to hit it with some Flex Seal and then layer after layer of spray paint. I even had to use a different color. On a side note, I finally took out this extra piece that was in the middle that was always knocking against the mask. I did decide to keep the backs of the shin guards as black. I like the way that they look. They contrast real nice. I went with the base of copper, and that was kind of interesting, all the taping and layers building up. Once those were done, it was time to start applying the orange accents. It was sort of to simulate as if the metal underneath was the copper and that there was just some tattered edges left of the orange paint. So there's a whole lot of rubbing after I put it on. For the other major areas of the armor, I took to using black spray paint on a rag and then wiped in the accents. I also did silver accents over some of the blue areas as well. I'm feeling it, you guys, getting tingly watching this costume play out. Oh man, let's talk about something I find so exciting. The jaw pieces that are a part of the modern Deathstroke mask, the one that's on Arkham Origins, I had built them into it physically, but I never painted them a different color. I finally got to do that in this version of the costume. Look at it. Bask in it. And it was time for the clear coat. Lots and lots of layers of clear coat over everything. Even my old swords got another coating. Let's peel back the eye. It's intact, I can still see. Now for a little story. The shotgun shells you're looking at, I actually found them in a spot behind the reservoir where I live. There were a bunch of guys out there shooting shotguns, and I just picked up a bunch of the shells. Stuffed them with paper, wrapped them with cloth, put them back where it goes. Stop before the Nandesakan convention in Denver. Was going to be working on the gloves. I just kept coating them and coating them and coating them with, of course, Mod Podge.